How about if I say we are and you say doomed?
MLPonders, top 10 times Equestria was doomed. For a show initially starring cute pastel miniature equines, the characters frequently run into dangers and perils that threaten the entirety of their home. We're going to dive into those moments that came close to their total destructive doom. In this, the events are listed in order from how close the opposition came to succeeding and just how bad things would have eventually turned out. If you aren't caught up to the episodes by now, here is your spoiler alert warning. And remember, this list was compiled before we see what's in store for the finale of the last season 9, so I hope we get some good hype about what might trump everything on this list. Number 10. King Sombra returns after 1,000 years in the episode The Crystal Empire. In this instance, King Sombra's curse with the Crystal Empire rematerializes in the north of Equestria. Twilight and company are sent to help secure it with Shining Armor and Princess Cadence when they discover the ancient evil bent on coming back full force. Had he succeeded, we know that he would have started a civil war with Equestria using the enslaved crystal ponies to form an army. This would have been bad for a number of straining reasons, including trying to face the other threats that came the way of Equestria later. King Sombra's victory was nearly sealed when Twilight had to sacrifice her position and Spike was dancing around on crystal stalagmites, fell from the sky, and just before King Sombra snatched the crystal heart, a waning Cadence is picked up by Shining Armor and thrown at it. This is one of the closest moments that could have ended in disaster, so why so low on the list? Well, we know from his third return in the Season 9 episode, The Beginning of the End, that he might be powerful, but Sombra's not the heaviest hitter, and his ruling of the Crystal Empire was only just good enough to match a stalemate against Princess Celestia and her forces. Number 9. Nightmare Moon returns in the episode Friendship is Magic. The opening episodes to the entire series gives us the premise of the show about how 6 new friends can use the magic of friendship to save Equestria. The first major villain is Nightmare Moon, who is freed from her banishment after 1,000 years. She casts out Princess Celestia and threatens to rule with a night that lasts forever. After splintering the elements of harmony, she thought victory was hers until all it took was a fragile realization from Twilight. United with her friends and empowering the spirits of the elements, the fragments reknit to form the most powerful weapon in Equestria. So it didn't take much for her to be victorious, but it also didn't take much for her to be defeated either. In the long run, as we see in an alternate timeline, Nightmare Moon continued to rule over Equestria as she dreamed, and although everything is at night, things aren't 100% quite as bleak as they might sound. Rainbow Dash and Rarity even got jobs in the service of Nightmare Moon. Ruling with an iron hoof, Nightmare Moon probably bolstered the military and would have fought fiercely to protect her realm. Number 8. Discord takes over in the episode The Return of Harmony. Perhaps one of the most memorable and favorite episodes on this list, we're introduced to Discord, the master of chaos who breaks from his prison of stone to cause terror across Equestria just for kicks. We can see from an alternate reality timeline and a look in the past that Discord disrupts all life as we know it. But while he doesn't technically destroy anything, living in constant eternal fear at the loss of any sensible or reliable pattern isn't exactly much better than etching a living in Fallout Equestria. Had this fate come to pass, Discord would have to defend his realm of amusement from the likes of the Storm King, T-Rex, and Chrysalis, which, judging by his capabilities, might not have been too hard. So how close was Discord to achieving ultimate success? Well, he actually scored a victory in turning the main 6 against each other, and Ponyville became the chaos capital of the world. All it took, however, was Celestia sending letters to Twilight. She could have eventually gotten around to it and gone to turn Discord back to stone for a second go. And for all of his magic, it seems that he can only alter and transfigure reality around him, not destroy it. So even if he wanted to do more to keep the main 6 apart, it wouldn't last once they got back together. Number 7. The Storm King acquires Alicorn magic in the My Little Pony movie. The My Little Pony movie did a good job playing a powerful but naive ultimate villain who relied on his underlings and lieutenant to handle the tactical situation. This is in stark contrast with the bumbling henchman or sidekick dawdling about the supreme evil one in many cartoons, especially in the past. So despite his lack of intellect, he made a wise decision putting Tempest in command of the Vanguard attack. right away. Canterlot was overtaken quickly on a day of festivities when the ponies had their guard down like the Tet Offensive in Vietnam. 3 of the princesses were encased in stone, and Twilight relied on good fortune and hope and friendship to make her destination and get rescued. It was only by luck in the final confrontation in a questionable battle that Twilight and friends succeeded. So why isn't this higher on the list? To be honest, the Storm King was pretty lucky himself. While we don't know why, Discord didn't show up, the main 6 didn't go to the Tree of Harmony to power up, and if his goons couldn't hold down the castle from what little came at them, it's unlikely his reign would have lasted for long. Number 6. Queen Chrysalis crashes the Canterlot wedding in the episode A Canterlot Wedding. Queen Chrysalis disguises herself as Princess Cadence and drains the love of shining armor to empower herself. The love was so strong, it enabled her to overpower Princess Celestia out of action. When the main 6 try to retrieve the elements of harmony, they are surrounded by the changeling swarm. Despite a valiant effort and beating back 100 or more, they were captured and all seemed pretty hopeless. But in the end, despite having everyone defeated, Queen Chrysalis does the number 1 villainy no-no, turns her back, gloats, and underestimates her captives. She quite literally could have had it all if she only broke the tradition of that mistake. But who knows how long she could have kept that going? What would have happened when Princess Luna came out? And since Shining Armor was revived, it would have only been a matter of time. Number 5. Cozy Glow eliminates magic in the episode School Raise. In this moment, the cute and young Cozy Glow shows us that you just can't trust a little girl with curls. Having hatched a plan right under Twilight's muzzle, she puts into place a game of chess, and it was quite nearly checkmate. Cozy Glow tricked the main 6 into leaving the School of Friendship and getting trapped with Tirek in Tartarus. She pushed Starlight into the magical sucking orb, trapping her from making any sound or using any of her powerful magic. Meanwhile, Chancellor Naysay, the Student 6, and the CMCs came back to give her trouble all along the way, and she had to craftily deal with each of them simultaneously. Eventually, Naysay and the main 6 escaped, but there was no hope for them to reach the school in time to stop the drain on magic. Based on what Pinkie Pie said about magic keeping the food fresh, this implies that it's their main source of refrigeration and power for all of their technology. With magic being drained out of all of Equestria, she even had Discord covered. Cozy Glow had taken over the school and was well on her way to winning it all. The only thing that stopped her was a cross between an accident and the strong kinship between friends of the Student 6. An awesome feat for one so small, but her reign as the Empress of Friendship couldn't have lasted very long. Even with all the magic drained, which would have been for a very poor kingdom to rule, there was still an Equestrian army and the main 6 on its way to take care of her. Number 4. Queen Chrysalis returns in the episode To Where and Back Again. With a repeat appearance, Queen Chrysalis comes back with a second attempt on the show at Equestrian conquest. This was quite an elaborate and well-made plan that involved her infiltrating the circles of all the heroes of Equestria. She captures all the royalty and replaces them with copies, she maintains long-distance communication between them, and holds her captives in the safety of the Changeling Hive, which eliminates the use of magic by foreigners. A lot of things had to fall into place for her downfall. First and foremost, Thorax needed a way to escape the Hive's detection. Starlight Glimmer just happened to be away from Twilight's castle at the time Chrysalis attacked. In the end, each of the unlikely characters involved were captured, all except Starlight in the very tip end with a diversion from Thorax. And this time, she wasn't taking any chances underestimating her opposition, even when she knows the rescue attempt was pretty pathetic. Even Starlight's fierce determination but hopeless plan to destroy Chrysalis's throne fails. Only when Starlight gleans a risky plan to overload Chrysalis with Giving Love by Thorax triggers the events that leads to her demise. Number 3. Tirek returns in the episode Twilight's Kingdom. This was undoubtedly one of the most epic moments in My Little Pony. After Tirek is freed, he roams Equestria in the shadows, slowly regaining his strength and size. However, Discord is brought in to track and capture him. Then, the cunning Tirek realizes that the only thing holding back Discord was a fragile link in friendship. Without the elements in direct possession of the main 6, what was there to stop him? Working together, Tyrek began draining a massive amount of magical energy, including the strength of earth ponies, flight and weather of Pegasi, and the magic of unicorns. Everything was working out for him, especially when he drained Discord of his chaos, until he failed to acquire Alicorn magic. After battling Twilight to a standstill, he is able to trade her captured friends for it. Tyrek gained ultimate victory and kept it only as long as it took Discord to unknowingly give Twilight the final key to unlock the elements from the revitalized Tree of Harmony. Most likely, all it would have taken for Tyrek's domineering victory would be to destroy the tree if only he had known. Number 2. Wendigos freeze the pony tribes in the episode Hearthwarming Eve. Equestria was nearly doomed before it was even founded. When the ponies from long ago were split into the 3 pony tribes, they started off as bitter enemies. While the play we see in the episode is most certainly a scaled-down version of the entire event, we can imagine how it must have been for only 3 subordinate ponies of each tribe to keep each other warm through an unlikely and forbidden friendship. Had the 3 not acted at the time they did, there wouldn't have even been an Equestria to begin with. Even as they were talking to each other while being completely encased in magical ice, the Wendigos nearly succeeded. The ponies of the Crystal Empire would have succumbed to King Sombra, and even if his realm lasted for 1,000 years, it would have gone up against corruption and destruction much later. Or perhaps the Wendigos would have gotten to them as well. Number 1. Starlight alters the timeline in the episode The Cutie Remark. This episode has it all. A powerful and cunning villain who covers her tracks, researches her enemy carefully, performs espionage, and behind it all is a broken friendship that put her on the path to evil. Starlight Glimmer takes the time-traveling spell from Star Swirl and alters it to change the past. In her act of revenge, she wants Twilight to see the destruction caused at stopping the most important moment of her destined unity with her friends and the resultant aftermath. Despite Twilight's best efforts, she is outwitted, and it seems that each time she's pulled back into a new, warped timeline, her energy in the cutie map seemed to wane. Even after showing Starlight the complete and utter nothingness of existence, it almost isn't enough. After Twilight's multiple failed attempts, Starlight even begins tearing the only existing copy of the enchantment Twilight needs to go back and forth. A simple further shred and poof. Twilight literally begs Starlight to simply surrender and give friendship another try. Only when she decides to risk doing this, and prepares for any punishment she deserves, is the fate of mere existence preserved. Thanks for watching My Little Ponders on the top 10 times Equestria was doomed. Wing salute and feather well.
We might as well just sit here and wait for the changelings to soak up all of our love, or whatever gross thing it is that they do.